Hi, Kim. Welcome back to New York. Wanted to ask first how you're feeling physically after sitting out last week, and then sort of bigger picture, ask what your emotions are as you approach your return to Grand Slam tennis. It's been a while for you.
It has been. Well, it's. I'll start with your second question. It's always a pleasure for me to come to the U.S. Open, whether it is for legends or for commentary or whatever. So to be here as a player is even more special, and to be able to practice on Arthur Ashe and to walk around the courts and seeing everything happen up close is a very nice feeling. And My stomach is feeling much better. I felt like in World Team Tennis, I started, my level really went up to where I wanted to be, where I've been training for to getting it to, and I felt like I played some really good tennis there, and hopefully I can kind of drag that through here in the matches.
Thank you, Howard. Richard Osborne and then Mark Stern. Richard?
Hey, Kim, it's great to see you back in New York. You obviously have a storied history in Flushing Meadows, some great moments. What would it mean to you to have a deep run and do something special here in 2020?
Well, trying to imagine how that would feel, I think it would feel incredible. I think what I focus on the most is to try and play good tennis, and I think that's where it starts for me. It's playing good tennis. I really enjoyed playing World Team Tennis. We had so much, we had so many good players there, and for me to be able to compete against them and to win a couple of matches here and there and play women's doubles, mixed doubles, singles. Um, I really enjoyed that, and the feeling that I had from playing, high level tennis when I had to, and come up with, you know, some great tennis when I had to, was that's so far what has meant the most to me. I think since I came back, because that's where I try to get to. Every week that I train, every day that I practice, I try to just be a little bit better, get fitter every time, and I have to have patience. I think, you know. I feel like I'm hitting the ball really well in practice. I'm hitting the ball clean. I'm starting to read my opponents better, because that was something that I was missing. I think a little bit in my first couple of tournaments that I played is anticipation, learning to read your opponents quickly. Someone who you haven't played before. Maybe in the past it would take me, a couple of games to kind of get used to their patterns a little bit, whereas now that takes a little bit longer. So I felt like in World Team Tennis, I really started to get that under control, and hopefully I can get that, get that to keep going that way.
When you do look back on the great moments here, is there one that sticks out for you that always sort of jumps into your mind when you think of Ash and think of the Open and
I
the
mean,
great moments you
there's
had here?
different moments. I remember one of the most for me, one of the big first moments for me was playing, I think, Serena. I think, was it 1999 when I qualified and I played her in, I think, first or second round. It was on the old Louis Armstrong Stadium, and I think I was up 5-2, but the tennis was just incredible. And I just remember the crowd just started to slowly towards the third set, and then the crowd started really packing up this stadium. And I think for me, I ended up losing that match, but it was an incredible. It was an incredible match, and the atmosphere was great. And so for me, that kind of, I think, started um, the the energy that I feel here when I play here, and any night match that you get to play here at the U.S. Open on Arthur Ashe is incredible. It's nothing like anything else anywhere else. So yeah, so I've had some great tennis here. Obviously, bringing Jada to the court when I won in 2009, 2010. Like, those are moments that as a family, and Brian and I, my husband, like, just share, and yeah. So those are memories that you will think about forever.
Thank you.
Okay, Mark Stern, followed by Ben Rothenberg. Mark, you're up.
Kim, obviously, and you just talked about it a second ago with some of the great memories you've had here at the U.S. Open, you can't really, I can't really think about the U.S. Open without thinking your win in 2009 with Jada right there on the court with you. Now you're coming back again, and it really gives a charge to, I think, folks watching the Open to have you back here and to see you competing again. You mentioned it a minute ago, and I know you've talked about it. The thrill and the electricity you get from a live crowd at Ash, those night matches, just the energy that you see and you feel. You're not going to have that this year, and what kind of an impact is that going to have on you?
I mean, I'm sure it will have somewhat of an impact. We've seen in the past, we've seen many moments where the crowd, the energy of the crowd, the momentum changes because of one rally or something, and that could still happen now. But I think the impact of a crowd, I think it'll be interesting to see also how some players really thrive on those kind of moments, and it's interesting. I mean, even walking around the courts. Now, I've never been able to watch so many live tennis matches as in the last week, like at the side here, just walking around from court to court, sitting down. There's always room, you know. So that's on one hand, like it's been nice to be up close and to follow it lively, but obviously, it's much better with the fans here, obviously.
Right. Thank you.
And Jada's
Thank
a lot
you.
bigger now too.
Ben Rothenberg will be followed by Matt Futterman. Ben, you're up.
Well, Kim, good to see you. I'm curious for you, there's been a bunch of news in the last 24, 48 hours about the men's players joining together to form a sort of union. They're calling a Professional Tennis Players Association, which they want to give them an outside collective bargaining or some sort of outside representation group outside of the structure of the ATP.
Yeah.
And I'm curious for you, you have been on tour for a long time. What you think of that idea, if you think women's players would benefit from something similar, and if you've heard anything about a combined body between the men and the women, which has been talked about previously.
To be honest with you, Ben, it was only the first time this morning that I heard about it, so I was a little bit surprised to hear it. And obviously, it's something where I would like to learn a little bit more about before I speak out about it. I would love to talk to Novak. Would love to talk to the guys who are ready to take this on, and just to see what their point of view is, what their frustrations have been, and just get some more information before I can even give a comment about it.
Have you thought during your career that the WTA structure has worked well for the players? Have you thought there could be room for improvement there?
I have. I mean, I think there's always room for improvement, but that's with everybody. I think, because our sport is so international and worldwide, and our sport changes, as we get, famous athletes from different parts of the world, new cultures come in, and so it always changes. But I do think that our tour has been very well ran over the years. I mean, I've been on the board. It's a few years ago now already, but I felt like they definitely listened and were open to there was communication, good communication. Can it be better? Of course, it can always be better. Can you please everybody at the same time? No, that's never going to happen. So I think it's important to just have players on there who players trust, and people on there who players trust. And I think over the years, we've done a good job in having that. We have a lot of players that are very outspoken and who are very involved in that. And I think that's really important. Thank you.
Matt Futterman to be followed by Jens Huber. Matt.
Hi, Kim. How you doing?
Hi, good, thanks.
Can you tell me what's been the hardest thing about getting yourself back into the shape you need to be in order to compete at an elite level? And then also, is this a different game that you're coming back to with this new generation of players? Is there anything different, whether it's the pace or speed or whatever, that has changed that you've noticed that?
For me, what is new is that there's a lot of girls and names out there who I've never heard of. So I have to kind of just get used to that a little bit again. For me, the most important thing is, or the biggest difference is, like I said before, is reading your opponents. Is anticipation. Is that split second intuition is something that I felt like has gradually improved. And when I played World Team Tennis a month ago now, or a couple months ago even, it's really that's where I really felt like I was able to play a lot of tennis. I was able to play singles, mixed doubles, and I felt like the more I played, the better that came back, and that was a really good feeling, because that's something that I was definitely missing a little bit in my previous matches that I played. So again, obviously with everything happening, with the COVID virus happening, and I have to build that up again, and so that's why World Team Tennis was a great thing for me.
And in terms of there not being sort of a dominant, it's been such a free for all in women's tennis in the last few years, with so many different women winning so many big championships and tournaments. What do you think accounts for that, and how different it is than what has happened on the men's tour?
I mean, I think it's tough to really, kind of put one reason for that. I think there's a lot of girls. I mean, we've seen some of the girls who were first-time Grand Slam finalists and then winning immediately. We saw Andreescu, we saw Stepenko. What Naomi Osaka did, back-to-back U.S. Open, Australian Open was incredible. So it's there's a lot of girls who can play tennis at a very, very, very high level. What I think sometimes, like when I watch them then, or when I keep my eye on them the next few months after they have a great result, is that the inconsistency sometimes is there. And what the reason is for that, I don't know. Is it because of maybe lack of focus, or because extra pressure, or I don't know what it is. But you do see that a little bit, and it is hard. It is hard for, when you see, what Serena and Venus have done for so many years. What, when I was playing Justine and myself, like we were playing quarterfinals, semifinals in a lot of Grand Slams that we were playing. And so I think we see a little bit less of that, because there's a lot of girls now who, at their best, can beat anybody. And so that's why it's really tricky for any top players out there. There's a lot of lower ranked players who are not seeded, who they get to play in the first round and have a tough time with. So you have to be ready from the get-go when you play any tournament now.
Okay, we'll take a few more questions, and then we're going to turn it over to the Belgian journalist. Jens is up, followed by Willie Weinbaum. Jens, you're up.
Well, unfortunately not a Belgian journalist, but anyway, thanks for taking my question. Kim, you mentioned World Team Tennis. Do you think that the WTA and the ATP have used the time wisely of this Corona break to maybe implement some new changes? Patrick Muratoglu tried different things. There were a few tournaments in Europe that tried different things. Do you think tennis is in a good state as far as the rules are concerned?
Well, I'm definitely kind of an old school type of girl, I would say. I like tradition. What I like about our sport is that we have definitely implementing technology into our sport over the years. I remember when on-court coaching came on, bringing the iPad on court to look at statistics. I mean, we have definitely done a lot, I think, already. I think it's really important to keep the core of our sport to what it is. So, yeah. That's my opinion, but then again, I'm 37 years old. Maybe a 20-year-old player might think differently about that.
We have time for two more questions. Willie Weinbaum, followed by Reem. Willie, you're up.
Hey, Kim, I'm wondering, with your career and what you've done as a competitor and as a mother, what your perspective is on Serena's pursuit of the all-time majors title.
What my perspective is on it, I think, what she did early on, and I think people kind of thought it was normal in a way, like the great results that she had as soon, pretty, like, not even a year, I think, after her daughter was born, playing Grand Slam finals and competing for Grand Slam titles was I think incredible. And obviously, a lot of people talk about it, and I think also for her, it gets harder to kind of not let it get to you, I think. But she's still working at it very hard and very passionate out there, and that's what, we love to see. She's a great competitor and always has been that, and you can only support that for somebody who's achieved so much and who's done so much, and for still fighting out there. I think it's incredible.
Reem, you will have our final question before we turn it over to the Belgian journalist.
Hi, Tim. Kim, you mentioned you were able to go around in the stands and watch a lot of matches. We've seen you on TV, catch a lot of different matches from the men's and women's tournaments this past week. I'm wondering, for you, what were you taking out of that kind of experience? Just what urged you to do that? Because sometimes a lot of players would just want to practice and leave site, whereas you looked like you were genuinely enjoying the tennis. So I just wanted to know.
I just enjoy watching tennis. I enjoy the sport. Yeah, I mean, there was no reason, you know, obviously it's fun when you get to go to a stadium and watch Serena play, and you get to go to a stadium and it's empty and Novak Djokovic is playing. And so, you know, whenever we were like walking over to the gym or supporting the Belgians that are out here playing, at any opportunity that we had, we enjoyed going over there, and kind of supporting the Belgians that were out there, and just, yeah, watch tennis. I mean, it's you know, besides trying to find a little shade, there was nothing. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I just enjoy watching tennis, and I've watched some doubles matches, and you know, obviously playing world team tennis as well. We you know, our team grew really close, and we had, you know, playing with Neil Skupski, Jack Sock. Like we tried to go watch each other and go support each other, and it's yeah, it's fun to be able to do that now.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. We'd like to turn it over to our Belgian journalistic friends, please. So if you can just text me who you are, we can have the control room bring you up.
Hallo Kim.
Hallo.
Goedemiddag.
Hey Filip.
Zou je wat meer in detail kunnen treden over je buikspierblessure en of je al geserveerd hebt de laatste dagen en punten gespeeld?
Ja, ik heb woensdag. Ik heb eigenlijk woensdag. Normaal was de bedoeling om misschien vrijdag pas te serveren, om het zo lang mogelijk te laten rusten voor het helingproces eigenlijk zo lang mogelijk te laten duren. Maar omdat. Hoort je mij nog?
Nee, dat is niet.
あ、よかった。ありがとうございます。はい。あ、ディスプレイコートにすればいいんですね。
Hoort je?
ありがとうございます。
Filip, hoort je mij?
Ja.
Ah ja.
Maar ook in Japans.
Ja, die hoor ik ook. I hear a Japanese lady. Ze zijn even aan het kijken wat het probleem is. Filip?
Ja.
Ah ja, nee, dus maar met dat een tabel woensdag of donderdag gemaakt ging worden, heb ik toch al geprobeerd om woensdag eventjes nog een nieuwe echo te laten nemen en wat te gaan serveren. Om te kijken van, ja, als het dan nog pijn doet, dan is het misschien best dat ik mij al terugtrek omwille van het feit dat de US Open of de USTA dan nog de kans heeft om die wildcard van mij aan iemand anders te geven. En anders wordt dat aan een alternate gegeven. Dus,
And I have to have patience. I think, you know, and I have to have patience. I think, you know.
Hallo?
Ja.
Ah. Ja, ik hoor hier van alles, sorry. Dus dat was eigenlijk mijn... dat heb ik woensdag gedaan en woensdag voelde dat oké. Ik ben rustig begonnen. Ik heb ondertussen wel uiteraard heel veel oefeningen gedaan in de fitness en dat was allemaal zo goed als pijnvrij. Dus dat waren allemaal wel goede tekens. Maar natuurlijk serveren is nog net dat tikkeltje extra belasting op die buikspier. Maar dat voelt oké. Dus daar was ik wel heel opgelucht over.
En met wat voor soort verwachtingen begin je dan aan het toernooi?
Goh, weet je, ik ben de World Team Tennis vertrokken daar in West Virginia met wel een heel goed gevoel. Uiteraard die buikblessure was minder, maar wel een gevoel gehad dat ik qua tennis een serieuze stap vooruit gemaakt heb. En dat was wel belangrijk, want dat is het gevoel dat ik had, waar dat ik nog naartoe kan gaan of naartoe kan groeien, maar wat er eigenlijk nog niet echt in wedstrijden is uitgekomen, of toch nog niet constant genoeg. En ja, daar heb ik echt heel goed tennis gespeeld, zowel in enkel, dubbel als dubbel gemengd. Dus ja, daarop blijven verder bouwen eigenlijk. En gewoon elke dag hard werken, goed trainen, En mijn oefeningen doen. Ja. Dus ik ben er klaar voor. Allee, weet je, het is lang genoeg nu van die trainingen elke dag en die oefeningen. En ik ben klaar om een wedstrijd te spelen. Want dat is uiteindelijk hetgeen wat ik het liefste doe en waar dat het om draait. Dus ja, ik kijk er naar uit om dinsdag te kunnen starten.
En de eerste ronde tegen Alexandrova, ken je dat meisje?
Nee, ik ken ze niet. Ja, ik ken haar wel van naam natuurlijk, hè, maar ik heb hier en daar wel wat video's al zitten te bekijken. Maar ja, het is niet, ik denk niet dat ik ze haar al live heb zien spelen.
Hoe gaat het leven in de bubbel ondertussen? Is dat moeilijk of valt dat wel mee?
Nee, eigenlijk valt dat wel mee. Ik denk dat ze echt wel heel veel moeite gedaan hebben. Het is natuurlijk wel een lange periode dat je hier aanwezig bent. Zeker gelijk in mijn geval dat je dan geen wedstrijden speelt. Maar dat was in West Virginia eigenlijk ook. Dus ze creëren een bubbel. En ja, het is natuurlijk wel een ander gegeven. Hier is het wel wat strikter, moet ik zeggen. Maar ze doen echt heel veel moeite om het voor de spelers zo aangenaam mogelijk te maken. Om het heel veilig te maken. Dus het is, op dat vlak is het allemaal wel heel goed geregeld. Ook het protocol vooraleer dat je hier toekomt. De testing dat je moet doen vooraleer dat je eigenlijk on-site mocht komen. Dus het wordt wel allemaal heel goed nageleefd. En de spelers zijn er ook heel bewust mee bezig. Iedereen draagt overal een masker. Probeert zoveel mogelijk afstand te houden in de mate van het mogelijke. Dus ja, je merkt toch dat er iedereen zich wel goed van bewust is.
Last question.
De spelers zeiden dat de banen veel sneller zijn dan vorig jaar. Voor jou is het 8 jaar geleden, denk ik, dat je gespeeld hebt. Dus dat maakt niet zoveel uit, denk ik.
Nee, ik denk zelfs niet dat ik nog weet hoe dat het toen voelde. Dus, ja, en ik ben daar trouwens nooit echt zo heel sterk in geweest om te omschrijven of dat ik nu een kilo minder of meer op mijn raket moet hebben. Of de ballen te zwaar zijn, of de baan te snel of te traag is, of dat de bal te hoog stuitert. Ja, nee. Dat is ook wel wat ik gehoord heb, dat het vrij snel is. Maar voor de rest weet ik er niet zoveel over.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, everyone.